Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Jay. Welcome to Jay's World. So let's talk. All right, I am back, and here we are again with another review of Empire. This is Empire Season 4, Episode 5, and and yesterday's episode is called "Of Hardness is Mother." Not quite sure what that means, but okay, all right. So let's just roll with it. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the scene starts off with Cookie, Lucius, Hakeem, and Jamal. They are all pretty much meeting for breakfast, and they received a note from the housekeeper. She brings in a note from Eddie, and Eddie pretty much sends over an apology note, apologizing for I guess trying to overthrow. Well, he didn't. Well, I take that back. He didn't say I'm trying to overthrow them because, according to, Eddie, he still thinks that they're not on to him. So he does apologize. He sends over a note, and of course, they're all like, "Yeah, all right," So they're sitting around eating breakfast and everything, and Lucius says, "Well, this is really nice, that finally, that we're all together as a family, and we're just sitting down and we're eating and having a good time." And Cookie pretty much calls him out on it. She's like, "Well, this isn't everybody, because Andre is not here." And she just proceeds to try to convince Lucius to, hey, look, it's time to just. This is your son. This is your baby. You need to make up with him. And of course, Lucius is, very, very, very typical. He's being very stubborn, and he's pushing back against Cookie. And Cookie just kind of leans over to Lucius and says, "You know what? You do realize that at some point, every person at this at this table wanted you dead." Think about it. And she just left it at that, And it was one of those. It was just one of those things where he just had to sit back and she just allowed that to marinate in his spirit. Okay, and I thought that was a pretty cool thing that she did because it sort of stopped him in his tracks. Okay, so we move on from there to Tiana's rehearsal, and Hakeem, he crashes the rehearsal. Hakeem obviously is still on this mission to make things right with Tiana, and I think it's just sort of one of those things where he's just trying to get inside her head and just try to, I guess, pound her down and make her, he's trying to get back in her good graces, because I really do feel that he knows that he messed up with last season when he went off on her real bad after court, and he after she testified in court, and he just kind of just went completely off on her because he felt that she messed up the court case with him trying to get the baby back. So so he's still trying to make up with Tiana, and she's of course in her feelings, and rightfully so, because he did her wrong. And so and also in that scene, I found something interesting. The choreographer that was pretty much trying to whip Tiana and all of the other dancers in shape, the camera kept focusing in on her. Now, she didn't have a lot of lines to say, but something tells me that the person that played that choreographer in that scene, she's somebody. And her face looks vaguely familiar. I was really trying to figure out, who is that girl or that woman, and because I noticed they more than once they just zoom right in on her face. And I believe they were sort of trying to make us, I guess, recognize who she was. And I believe she's either an ex R&B singer or some ex rapper from back in the day or somebody. But that lady is somebody, So if you guys know who she is, let me know down in the comment section, because it was driving me nuts all night. All night long, I was trying to figure out who that woman's face was, because I wanted to surprise you guys and could sort of write it down. Or maybe she isn't anybody. I don't know, but I do believe she's somebody. So anyway, and so basically, Tiana, she's just all in her feelings over the whole Hakeem thing, and she got aggravated with the choreographer, and she fired the choreographer. And of course Becky comes over and finds out what's going on, and she said, "Hey, I fired her." And so Becky was like, "You know what? That's it. Everybody out." So she put the whole group out, and it was kind of funny when she told old boy, "Oh, really? A whole tray of donuts?" No, whole tray of cupcakes. So that was kind of funny too. And shout out to my boy Lee Daniels. I'm just loving what he's really doing with these characters, and I just love the fact that even with Becky, he's not playing into stereotypes with any of the characters on this show now. He's really developing these characters, and he's turning them into human beings. I mean, you think about it. I mean, Gabourey Sidibe. I mean, she is still, she's losing the weight now. She's not as big as she used to be, but she's still considered a full-figured woman, and and she's a brown girl, and she's not playing the typical sassy black girl that they tend to stereotype, bigger girls in movies and shows. She's just being Becky, and she's just being a human and a character, and I'm loving that. Okay, so we move from that scene to a real quick thing with back over to the house with Cookie, and Portia comes in, and she has a with an envelope or something for Cookie, and basically is an invite from China. I guess her Cookie's old prison mate. China wants to meet with Cookie, so we got that whole thing going on. And then from there we jump over to where Andre meets with Lucius. And Andre's pretty much has been doing his homework on this whole Eddie takeover empire thing. And you can tell Andre is really, really trying to, I'm not even going to call it make amends. Yeah, okay, yeah, he's trying to make amends with his father and his parents. But more than that, he's trying to wrong a right. And he's just trying to make this whole thing right. I mean, because, you think about it. Trying to kill someone is a pretty big thing. I mean, that's a big deal. You tried to kill your parents. So, so he's trying to make this thing right. And I'm all for people trying to make things right. Sometimes in life, saying you're sorry is just not good enough. We've all been wronged. We've all been wrong. We've all had things happen to us. We've all been betrayed by people. And a lot of times, people think that saying I'm sorry is enough. And saying I'm sorry is not always enough. That's just a mere Band-Aid on a bigger problem. Sometimes in life, you have to make the situation right. You got to turn it around. Do what you need to do to make it right. Now, will the relationship ever be the same again? Probably not. But you've got to put forth that effort. So I appreciate Andre really working his butt off in investigating this thing into Eddie and trying to really find out what's going on and trying to make things right. So kudos to Andre. Okay. So we move from there to where, Andre, convinces, Lucius. Let me see. Andre meets, got my notes here. Figure out. Okay. So anyway, like I said, Andre meets with Lucius, and, so he's doing his homework, and then he convinces Lucius that they need to meet with Eddie's second wife, Celeste. Remember last week, she's pretty much in on this as well with Eddie. So and of course Eddie had promised to cut, to give her a cut into the money when they finally take over Empire. So Andre and Lucius, they go over to what I believe is I don't know, it's like a country club, definitely a place with rich, well-to-do people that have lots of money and playing tennis and everything. So, she's with her tennis instructor. And so Lucius comes over to, approaches Celeste, and, and he's, trying to convince her to talk, and, she's not backing down, and she's talking they're kind of going back and forth with a lot of smack talking or whatever, and she's not buying what he's selling, so I think she's pretty much on to the fact that, okay, you're trying to come over here and shake me down and make me talk, and it's not happening. So Andre decides, well, you know what, Dad, let me take a crack at this. Again, you have to remember, Andre is on a mission. He's on a mission to find out what's happening with Eddie, and trying to, he's doing that thing as well. He's also trying to make amends and trying to get back in the family's good graces. And I'm Team Andre right now, because I would be doing the same thing too. And so Andre meets Celeste. They're still at the country club. I think at this time they're having lunch or whatever, So Andre walks over to Celeste and he goes, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" And and he introduces himself, and she has a few smart things to say, and he pretty much he tricks her. He tricks her into spilling all the tea. He gives Lucius this piece of paper, blank piece of paper with with nothing. With nothing but just Empire heading on it, and it has nothing. And he pretty much lies to Celeste and tells her that Eddie convinced his current wife that she's going to get this and that and a percentage of this. And of course, Celeste is like, what? Oh no, she starts going off, and before you know it, she got all the way in her feelings, and she starts spilling all the tea, and they pretty much got all of the answers that they needed. So I thought that was pretty smart of Andre. And right now on this, I'm Team Andre, because I really do I would like for Andre to get back in the good graces of the family. And we know eventually he's going to happen. He's a main character. Okay, so we go from there on over to when China, Cookie's former inmate, friend, she meets Cookie over to the house, and Cookie pretty much breaks it to her that their mutual friend Pound Cake, who is also one of Cookie's enemies in prison or whatever, she's dying of cancer. And and again, they're doing their flashbacks to prison and everything, and they're just giving you some sort of a backstory, as to the relationship between Cookie and Pound Cake. And they flash back to when Cookie, when Pound Cake confronts Cookie and tells her about her daughter, and how she's very suspicious of that of the security guard in prison, and how she calls him a bastard or whatever, and said she didn't trust him and all that. And I'm like, okay, where is this going? So so they're giving you, they're sort of setting it up, and they're giving you the backstory. So we jump from there on over to where Shine is in the studio with this white rapper by the name of Young Gun. And pretty much Shine has asked, and Hakeem walks in, and Shine asks Hakeem if he would give Young Gun some pointers, and and try to help him out in the industry, and explains his background, and he's from Chicago, and he's from the hood and from the streets and all this kind of stuff. Okay. This is how I feel about this. Don't get me wrong. I get it, the white Young Gun is this white up and coming rapper, and he's from the hood and he's from the streets, and they're really trying to, help him with his career and make things happen for him. But I mean, haven't we seen this story play out before? I mean, not even just in television shows, but even in real life, I mean, we get it. A white rapper. That's okay, big deal. So, okay, so fine. I'm just kind of over the whole white rapper with the yo and all this whole kind of stuff, because it's personally, it's a little irritating to me. I get it. He's a white rapper. He's from the hood. He has swag. He knows all the vernacular and the street slang, this, that, and the third. All right. I don't need to see this white boy's backstory. I'll be honest. I get it. Let him go ahead and do his little rap thing, and he'll be a rap artist on the label. But this is nothing fresh and new for me. And I'm just kind of over that whole narrative, because at the end of the day, he can yo and what's up and all of this, because at the end of the day, white privilege is always on his side. He can always put on a suit and be the white boy and soar in life. I'm sorry. I mean, for real, I mean, so, he can get out of this being black thing when he wants to. We don't have that option. We are African Americans. It's the skin that we're in. So I'm just over that storyline. All right. So I'm off my soapbox. Now back to the review. Okay. So anyway, so like I said, blah, blah, blah. He meets with Shine. Big deal. Okay. So we go from there on over to where Cookie meets with, actually Cookie visits the hospital, and Cookie visits Pound Cake, in the hospital, and Pound Cake apologizes to Cookie for some things, and I thought this was a really very touching scene. She gets real tearful and everything, and they're sort of reminiscing, and they're going, they're just kind of going back and forth and talking about the things from the past. And Pound Cake confesses to Cookie that she's still longing for her daughter, and she just wants to know where her daughter is, and she was just imagining what her daughter's life would be like, and you could tell this is one of her last dying wishes, and that is to see her daughter again, and it really that scene really touched me, and shout out to whoever that actress is that's playing Pound Cake. I thought she did an excellent job, and anyone that has ever had a loved one suffering or dying with cancer, it just sort of took me back to seeing my own mother suffering as well before she passed. So that was a real touching scene. It almost kind of made me cry, but so anyway, so they had that thing. And so Cookie, she just, she pretty much promises Pound Cake that she's going to bring her daughter. She's going to find her daughter. And if we know Cookie, Cookie will absolutely make that happen. And that's pretty much how that scene ended. And so we go from there to with Cookie and when Cookie, we go from there to Cookie and Portia. They are now in the car. They are in front of the guard's house, and so somehow, some kind of way, I guess they track down that white security guard, that they all hated in prison. So Cookie and Portia, they're parked outside of the guard's house, and I found that interesting or whatever, And Cookie, she has on her, her bracelet and everything, and. And I've got to tell you guys earlier, I didn't talk about it because it wasn't a big deal, whatever. But anyway, so, that bracelet that Cookie has on her wrist is it's a heart monitor / tracking device. So Lucius will always know where, Cookie is, at all times. So she snatched it off and put it on Portia's wrist and told her, hey, girl, look, just breathe slow. I'll be right back, because she's in front of the guard's house and she needs to go in and find out what's happened with Pound Cake's baby. I told you, Cookie's gonna find out. Okay, so anyway, so she goes in and she meets with the guard. The wife answers the door. The guard's wife answers the door. She's all sweet and kind and everything, and she comes in, and then of course he comes out being fake as all get out, pretending like everything is all hunky-dory and everything, typical liar, sociopath, how they do. And anyway, so, and they're exchanging small pleasantries or whatever. And so, Cookie, she's like throwing out some hints. And the wife is like, okay, what's really going on? She's kind of nervous or whatever. And she goes, okay, well, I'll be back and I'll go get you guys some snacks. And of course, now Cookie's alone with guard. And she's like, okay, you know what? She confronts him. And they're, she's like, okay, what's up? Where's Pound Cake's baby? And, and she's just pushing at him. And then he finally, confesses that, that he sold the baby into the system. And I mean, here's what really kills me. Not only did he rape Pound Cake, this bastard even made money on top of it. So, and I'm wondering, how often does something like that really happen in real life? So, that should be interesting. But anyway, so, so Cookie shook him down. And he, so she got a confession out of him or whatever, and he tried his little huff thing or whatever with her, but it didn't work because after all, this is Cookie. So anyway, so the wife, she comes back with her tray of lemonade, and so she said, oh, well, I have some lemonade and some cinnamon pound cake. And Cookie goes, oh, don't worry, I really have to go, but don't worry about it. Give it to him. He loves eating pound cake. I said, ooh, Cookie. I said, Cookie, you a mess. So anyway, so Cookie, she goes back out to the car, and she's putting our trusty boy Thirsty on top of it. and telling him, find out all the information he can about, the little girl and the situation or whatever. And, and so she's talking to him, and then Portia's like ready to go. She's got, hold up, I got to go back in the house and do one more thing. So she goes back into the house and she knocks on the door, and the wife answers the door. And she's like, you know what? He rapes women. She said he raped, she showed the wife a picture. She's like, he raped my friend. He got her pregnant. I mean, she just started just going in. She was just spilling all the beans, and she's spilling all the tea, the beans, or whatever you want to call it. And then he comes to the door, and she's like, psst, peace, I gotta go. And I was like, wow. So I found that real interesting. So definitely a nice little juicy plot line. I can't wait to see the outcome of that. Okay, so we hop from there to Andre and Lucius. This is a scene where they are now still, they're on their mission to discover what has actually happened with Eddie and how he's trying to overtake, Empire and all of that kind of stuff. And they sort of had a little moment themselves, and of course, Lucius is still hurt and upset at the fact that Andre, of course, tried to have him murdered. And, and he was just, like, hey, well, I don't understand. Remember when you were a little boy? And I remember that scene in the first season when you were, he tells Andre, remember when you were a little boy and, you hid my gun in your box of Legos, and, what happened to that little boy? And, where did I go wrong? I mean, typical, he wanted to know, what happened, where he went wrong. And Andre looked at him and he quoted a date. I forget the exact date it was. And it was, apparently it was the date of when he got diagnosed with bipolarism. And he said, from there, ever since I was diagnosed with being bipolar, you looked at me like I was damaged goods. And I'm thinking, okay, well, when he said that to Lucius, that Lucius, of course, was going to respond with something, profound and heartfelt. And Lucius, I'll be daggone if Lucius didn't respond to that boy by saying, well, you are damaged goods. I was like, ugh. Lucius. No, you can't say that, Lucius. You can't do that. You trying to you guys are trying to get back right with each other. You can't call the man damaged goods, especially after he confessed that's how you made him feel the whole time. Yeah, not a good response, Lucius. So, yeah, they, and that scene really got to me because, like I said, being a person that is that has witnessed a family member in my own life deal with bipolarism, it's a very serious thing. And shout out to Lee Daniels for having that conversation and making everyone talk about mental illness, particularly in the African American community, because it's not going anywhere. And we have to start having those conversations. I don't care how uncomfortable those conversations are, how mad people may get, how mad people may get at you. I've had people get angry with me, even in my own family. But we've got to start talking about mental illness because it's a real thing. So I really, really appreciate Lee Daniels for incorporating that storyline into the fabric of this show. And so we jump from that scene to where, of course, Hakeem, he's at it again. He's still trying to get back on track with Kiana. Actually, before that, he was in the. I'll take that back. I'm sorry. Before that, he had met back up with the white rapper. I forget. I'm sorry. I want to keep calling the boy the white rapper. What's the boy's name? What's his name? He's from Chicago, y'all. Come on. Hold up. Let me look at my notes. Wait a minute. Young Gun. That's right. Young Gun. So anyway, I'm sorry. Before that, Hakeem met, met back up with Young Gun, and then they had this scene to where, they pretty much did a song together in the studio, and I've noticed so far they've not done a lot of scenes like that, because in years past on Empire, you could always at least get one or two actual full on music performances But I've noticed they've not done that so far this season. But it was kind of neat to see that, him and Young Gun, the rapper, they had their little scene. It was like a little music video in the studio and blah, 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 blah. All right. So anyway, so jumping back to Tiana and Hakeem. So again, Hakeem is getting ready to go out to the strip club, and he sees Tiana, and he's still trying to make things right with her, and so that sort of fell flat. So my boy's still on the mission, so good for him. So from that, we just go to our last scene with Lucius and Cookie, where Lucius and Cookie, they are, in so many words, they've just pretty much, they're trying to reaffirm their relationship with each other, and they've promised to just really be there for each other, and it's very tearful, and they embraced and they hugged and everything, and so that's it. That was the entire episode. So I thought it was still a pretty good episode. Not as good as last week's, but still good, and it had its good points. So, this season is definitely getting off. We got a lot of great, juicy storylines going on. So I'm so interested to see how these things are going to happen. Anyway, that's it, guys. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you look, I'm just a little teeny tiny little small potatoes guy over here on YouTube. I know I'm growing. This is a growing channel. I'm going to stick with it. If you guys stick with me, I will stick with you. Okay, with my reviews and the other things that I love to talk about. But that's it. That's all I got, guys. Please give me a thumbs up. Talk to your boy. Holler at me in the comment section. Rate, comment, and subscribe. That's it. God bless you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.